Brothers and sisters of Africa, today I stand before the world, not as a man seeking applause, but as a voice demanding justice. For too long, our nations have been shackled by invisible chains, debt that crushes our futures, austerity that starves our children, and foreign powers that bleed our gold while claiming to help. The halls of the IMF and the UN echo with promises they never intend to keep. They speak of growth and development, yet they enforce policies that enrich themselves while our people suffer. Today, I expose the truths they hide, 7 harms inflicted upon our beloved continent, and I call upon every African to open their eyes, to rise, and to reclaim our dignity. This is not a speech of anger alone. It is a declaration of sovereignty. The rivers of our land, the gold beneath our feet, the sweat of our workers, and the spirit of our people, all have been exploited for the benefit of others, but no longer. Today, the world hears Africa speak, not in whispers, but in the roar of truth. Stay with me, for what I reveal today is not just history. It is the blueprint of resistance, the roadmap to freedom, and the awakening of a continent that will no longer bow. Africa will rise. Africa will endure, and those who have tried to silence us will tremble at the sound of our courage. Look at me, Africa. Look at what they have done to us. They call it assistance. They call it loans, but I call it chains. Chains that bind our nations, our children, our dreams. From the moment the first agreement is signed in a cold foreign office, the weight of their money is not freedom, it is slavery. Every dollar we borrow is a step deeper into a cage built not of steel, but of deception, manipulation, and greed. I have walked through our cities, through our villages, and I have seen the faces of our people, mothers who worry about food, fathers who work from dawn to dusk yet cannot feed their families, children who dream not of school, but of survival. And all this while foreign coffers grow fatter, their profits protected, their debts never questioned. They speak of development, yet they give us contracts that tie our future to their profits, that leave our economies dependent, vulnerable, and humiliated. And do you know what is worst? It is not just the debt itself, but the terms. Interest rates that devour our potential, conditions that strip our sovereignty, rules that decide how we must govern, what we must spend, who we must hire. They have turned our own ambition into a tool to control us, to keep us forever asking for permission. Is this the Africa we dreamed of? No, this is a system designed to keep us silent, to keep us obedient, while our wealth flows outward and our people remain in chains. But hear me now, the chains are visible. The chains can be broken. We will no longer pretend that silence is safety. We will no longer accept a system that profits from our suffering. Debt is not a destiny, it is a choice imposed upon us, and today, Africa begins to make its own choice. To say enough, to reclaim our sovereignty, to demand that our children inherit freedom, not servitude. This is the beginning, the first strike against centuries of manipulation. And once we confront this, we will see that every other injustice, every theft of our land, every lie of development, every stolen resource is connected to this web of debt. And from here, we move to the next battle, austerity and the policies that starve our people while they count our money in foreign banks. Can you feel it, Africa? The hunger that gnaws at our children, the empty bowls, the mothers crying in silence. They call it austerity, a word designed to hide their cruelty, but we see the truth. It is a deliberate choice to starve our people while fattening foreign coffers. Every cut in healthcare, every slash in education, every reduction in wages is not a mistake. It is a weapon aimed at our spirit, a calculated attack to weaken our nations from within. I have walked through villages where the sun burns hot and the soil is rich, yet the people go hungry. I have met families who work tirelessly, who sweat from dawn until dusk and still cannot put food on the table. Why? Because the rules imposed by distant powers demand that every cent borrowed must be repaid first, that our resources must be exported cheap, and that our needs are secondary to their profits. They tell us it is for our own good, that austerity is discipline. But we know the truth. It is punishment for daring to dream of self-reliance. It is a leash that keeps our economies and our hearts chained. Look at our schools, look at our hospitals, crumbling walls, empty shelves, underpaid teachers and nurses, while loans are counted, interest is calculated, and foreign advisors tell us to tighten our belts. Who benefits from this discipline? Not our people. The people who profit are never the ones waiting in line for water, never the ones whose children fall ill for lack of medicine. The people who profit sit in air-conditioned rooms thousands of miles away, counting our misery as a margin of success. But I say to you today, Africa, we will no longer accept this silent murder of our potential. We will no longer bow to rules designed to keep us weak. We will speak, we will rise, and we will demand that the policies which starve our people be thrown into the trash of history. Our children deserve more than survival. They deserve life, they deserve education, they deserve health, they deserve hope. And when we take this stand against austerity, when we reclaim the right to feed our people, to educate our children, to heal the sick, we move forward to confront the next injustice, the relentless extraction of our gold and resources, taken while our nations are left empty-handed. Look around you, Africa. Look beneath your feet. The gold, the minerals, the treasures of our land, they belong to us, yet they are taken, extracted, and shipped away by foreign powers as if we do not exist. They call it investment, they call it partnership, but we know the truth. It is theft, legalized by paper and contracts, while our people remain poor and powerless. Every ounce of gold that leaves our soil is a story of betrayal, a story of our labor stolen, and a story of promises broken. Listen to me, Africa. Listen to the promises they have whispered in our ears for decades. They call it aid, they call it development, but it is nothing more than a mask, a lie dressed in charity. They come with planes full of money, advisors in suits, cameras flashing, and speeches filled with hope. And yet, what do we see on the ground? Empty schools, broken hospitals, roads that crumble, and communities left behind. The aid they give is a tool, not of love, not of progress, but of control. I have walked through towns where children study under the open sky, where teachers struggle to teach with no books, and where hospitals have no medicine. And yet we are told we are grateful for aid that never reaches us. We are told to accept foreign programs that dictate our policies, our priorities, our lives. Every grant comes with strings, every loan with conditions, every assistance with a price, the price of our sovereignty, the price of our freedom, the price of our dignity. Think about it. Millions of dollars flow into our nations every year, yet our people remain poor, hungry, and powerless. Why? Because aid is never meant to serve Africa. It is meant to bind Africa, to make us dependent, to create illusions that we cannot succeed on our own. While we are busy following their plans, our wealth is exported, our labor exploited, and our decisions dictated. Development aid is not a bridge to prosperity. It is a chain, subtle but strong, designed to keep us under the thumb of foreign powers. But I say to you today, we are not beggars. We are not subjects. We are the masters of our destiny. Africa does not need permission to rise. We have the land, the people, the knowledge, and the courage to build our future. Aid should never define us. We define ourselves. Every dollar, every resource, every effort must serve Africa first. Our children deserve skis, schools built by our hands. Our sick deserve hospitals funded by our nations. Our future belongs to us, not to distant bureaucrats or foreign advisors. And once we reject these lies and reclaim our power, we turn our gaze to the next battle, the moral call for sovereignty, the demand that Africa governs Africa, free from chains, free from interference, free to rise. Africa, hear me now. Our time of silence is over. Our time of waiting for permission is over. Sovereignty is not a word in a book. It is the heartbeat of our nations, the pulse of our people, the fire in our children's eyes. For too long, foreign powers have decided how we live, how we govern, how we spend, and even how we think. They have treated our nations as colonies of convenience, our leaders as puppets, our people as numbers on a ledger. Enough. I have seen what happens when we surrender our power. Our policies are dictated by distant offices, our resources are allocated for foreign profit, and our voices are silenced under the guise of diplomacy. But sovereignty is not a gift to be begged for. It is a right to be claimed, defended, and lived every single day. Our independence must not only exist on paper, it must breathe in our actions, in our laws, in our streets, and in the courage of our youth. Look at our history, Africa. We fought against empires, against colonizers, against those who tried to erase our names, our languages, our culture. Do you think we will now bow to invisible chains, to invisible masters, to invisible debts? No. Freedom is not negotiable. Sovereignty is not optional. It is the sacred duty of every African to guard our land, to defend our people, and to decide our destiny without interference from outsiders who care nothing for our future. We must govern ourselves with honesty, with vision, and with courage. We must protect our borders, our economies, and our institutions. We must create policies that serve our children, not foreign investors. We must ensure that every decision, every action, every law honors the dignity of our people. I have seen the mines. I have spoken to the workers whose hands bleed, whose lungs choke on dust, and whose spirits are crushed by the weight of exploitation. They dig and toil while foreign corporations count profits in air-conditioned offices, while taxes are avoided, regulations ignored, and communities left to rot. They come with promises of jobs and development, but what they leave behind is pollution, poverty, and despair. The wealth is exported, the suffering remains. Is this the Africa we dreamed of? No, this is not our vision. This is a continent stripped of dignity, its treasures taken while its people starve. And yet they dare tell us it is for progress. They tell us that their gold will bring prosperity. But whose prosperity? Not ours. Their gold fills foreign vaults, funds wars elsewhere, and buys luxuries while our children walk barefoot to school, while our hospitals lack medicine, while our mothers pray for a morsel of food. We have been made spectators in our own land, watching our inheritance vanish into the hands of those who care nothing for our future. But hear me, Africa. The time of silent watching is over. Our resources are not a gift to be begged for. They are our birthright. We will no longer allow foreign powers to decide how our wealth is used, to choose which of our people will benefit and which will suffer. We will take back control of our mines, our forests, our rivers, and our land. Our labor, our soil, and our gold will serve Africa first, for our children, for our communities, for our future. And when we reclaim what is ours, when our resources fuel our development and our dignity, we move to the next revelation, the lies of so-called development aid, a tool that has long disguised control as charity. And above all, we must teach our young ones that they are not subjects of the world. They are citizens of Africa, inheritors of a continent rich in culture, resources, and promise. This is more than politics. This is morality. It is the righteous path to reclaim what is ours and to ensure that Africa is never again treated as a playground for others. And when we embrace this call, when we live it in every choice, every law, every act of courage, we prepare for the final vision, a revolutionary future for Africa, united, self-reliant, and unstoppable. Africa, can you feel it? The wind of change is rising, and it carries with it the dreams of every mother, every child, every worker, and every fighter across this continent. This is the moment we have been waiting for, not for permission, not for approval, but for the courage to seize our destiny. The future we dream of is not handed down by foreign powers. It is built by our hands, our minds, our hearts, and our unity. I see an Africa where our children go to schools filled with books and light, where hospitals heal without fear of empty shelves, where our farmers, miners, and workers are respected, not exploited. I see nations whose wealth is used for the people, whose resources are protected, whose economies serve African needs first. I see a continent no longer divided by artificial borders drawn for colonial convenience, but united by culture, by purpose, and by a shared destiny. This is not a dream. It is our obligation, our right, our revolution. And let me tell you this, Africa, the road will not be easy. There will be those who resist, those who fear the power of a free continent, those who profit from our division. But we are stronger than fear. We are stronger than the lies, the loans, the chains, the exploitation, the stolen wealth. Every step we take towards self-reliance, every act of courage, every moment of unity is a strike against centuries of oppression. Every time we lift a child out of hunger, every time we build a road, a school, or a clinic with our own hands, we reclaim our sovereignty. This is the revolution we live, breathe, and fight for today. We must be vigilant, Africa, but also visionary. We must teach our youth that leadership is service, that power is responsibility, that freedom is a practice, not a promise. We must embrace technology, education, and innovation, not to imitate others, but to empower ourselves, to create our industries, to protect our knowledge, and to build wealth that stays here with our people. We must unite across borders, across tribes, across languages, for our enemies rely on division, but our strength lies in unity. And so I call on every citizen, every fighter, every dreamer, let us rise together. Let us write a new chapter in Africa's story, a chapter of dignity, courage, prosperity, and freedom. The chains of debt, the lies of aid, the theft of our wealth, the oppression of austerity, they will fall. And in their place will stand a continent reborn, sovereign, proud, and unstoppable. Africa, the future is ours, and the world will finally hear our roar. Brothers and sisters, our fight does not end when the video stops. This message, this truth, belongs to every African heart that still beats with pride. Share it. Spread it. Let every village, every city, every voice echo the same cry. Africa will never kneel again. Do not just watch. Be part of the revolution. Subscribe not to a channel, but to an idea. The idea that freedom is ours, that unity is our weapon, and that tomorrow begins with what we do today. Together, we are not just witnesses to history, we are its authors. So rise, my people. Stand tall, stand proud, and let the world hear your roar. Subscribe now. Share this message. And never miss the truths that the world tries to silence. The Lion of Faso speaks for all of Africa, and our voice will never fade.